Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another final episode of I Heart Geek, the Mandolorian edition. Wait, I shouldn't say that because we're going to be doing this again next season, and there's and there's 70,000 other Star Wars series coming out. We'll talk about that later. This is an emotional moment after watching season 2, episode 8 of The Mandalorian.
Is that why you got your glasses on?
Yes, I'll cry a
Eyes are
lot.
little
So
red
no one
rims.
can see you cry.
It's it was a lot. So let's introduce the panel. I'm Dub. With me is Christina. How are you doing?
I am excited. I have watched this 7 times.
Get a grip. So I'm guessing there's no detail that passed you by.
Oh my gosh, I'm at this point, I watch it with other people and I watch them, I don't watch it. Like I know the moments that are coming. I'm like, oh, I want to see their reaction. Oh.
Nice. Chris, how are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I am fantastic. I am so excited that for this final episode, I pulled out my Stormtrooper hockey jersey that I got a few years ago. But to make things more appropriate, it
can't see it.
It says Dark.
Oh,
Troopers.
dark. Yeah, dark.
Oh.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that was my fiance's idea.
The music on this
awesome.
now, when they showed up, we'll get to that. Oh, that music. So, Tony, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm super stoked to and I am so excited that you brought up the music because I could not stop hitting my husband and making comments about how they scored this episode. I'm very, very excited. And I'm going to do my best to also represent Bly's here and bring up some of his points, which I don't agree with, but I still
Nobody
think
does. It's okay.
should be, represented. So I'm here to represent.
Represent, dog.
Yeah.
Oh, no. What was so fun about this episode, I had no less than 8 calls from people that I've known in the past and some family and friends. Did you see this episode? Because people were just, in the non-geek community, people were flipping out on this one. This was the perfect episode.
I have chills just thinking about it.
I mean, this was
Like-
absolutely perfect.
It was so good.
I believe it was Newsweek or Newsday, something like that. Y'all can bite me. I can't believe at 6 o'clock in the morning they put spoilers out.
Unbelievable.
That was
Yeah.
the
That's
Ooh.
sick.
that was one of the benefits of Sean getting his happy butt up to go to work so early. I'd already seen it, but I watched it at 3:30 that morning. So
Yeah, Miss Geeky Page called me to be upset with me that it wasn't us, but there was major publications that said spoiler warning and then had Luke on the freaking front cover. I'm like,
Yeah, that's not right.
y'all suck.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Boo.
it doesn't count as a spoiler warning if you put the frickin' spoiler up front and center so you can see it.
yep.
So with spoiler warnings, you guys have had a couple of days to watch it. We are spoiler filled,
Yes, we are.
as we always are on these
We're
episodes.
so spoiled.
Oh, yeah, you can't talk about this show and not. Honestly, I think that major publications shouldn't be allowed. I mean, at least if it's a show like this, 48 hours. I think that's more than
That's
fair.
fair. Yeah.
Because
At
that's like
least.
the old time TV when you'd have to sit and watch it at a certain time. I'm okay with that, but just give everyone time to catch up. You don't do it at 6 a.m. Yeah, jerks. Okay, so let's do as we always do and tackle this kind of piece at a time. It started with that fantastic chase scene when Slave One was chasing the Lambda. Oh, wow. What'd you guys think of this? What just right off the top? Start with you, Chris.
Oh my God. It was perfect. This whole episode was perfect. And this was, It's so good. It's so good.
He's not
that,
going to be any good today on this show.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna be terrible. But like the whole entire, from start to finish, especially the beginning of this episode, it's set up everything perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, how else
Yeah.
can I describe it? It's just, I'm getting like excited just thinking about
Getting
it.
chills.
Yeah.
What about you, Satomi? What'd you catch on this first? There's some key points that I really love, but you go ahead. I want you guys to hit it first.
I mean, honestly, probably this entire episode was just me with my mouth open, making weird little excited sounds.
like
Except for
Grogu.
later when I actually, yes, I was channeling Grogu this episode.
Oh, we should have done a live watch through with it.
Oh.
Yeah.
It brought me right back. I felt it brought me back to what I love about this series is that it feels so OG. And if you notice, as the music comes in from the very beginning, they're already changing instrumentation.
Yeah.
So you're already getting this like, oh,
This is
something's
different.
going
Yeah.
down real soon.
Christina?
Well, I missed you all last week, but one of the things I wanted to say from last week is that Slave One is like the TARDIS. It is bigger on the inside. I was shocked at how many people they fit in there.
Yeah, I'm still not happy about that, to be honest.
Oh, well.
It is what it is.
No, it does make sense. If you look at it, it does make sense.
Yeah,
because remember
but
they got the rotating and then
Yeah.
Oh, and you really saw that on this episode, but we'll get back to that.
that was last episode, but yeah, it was,
Yeah,
no,
no,
this episode
I-
shows it again. We'll talk
yeah,
about it later.
I loved it from the moment, because we had already talked about the Doctor coming back into play.
Yeah.
And I loved that whole segment, and the music, just like, I literally, when the music started, I literally had like little tiny pinprick chills going up the back of my spine, and I was just like, oh, this is gonna be way better than we thought.
Yeah. Well, let's hit the Doctor first, because that was something that I talked about a couple of weeks ago. They did exactly what they should have done. I mean, he's still not a good guy, but he's definitely not a bad guy, and he's a bit of a weasel. He is.
Severus Snape in it.
He's a wuss.
I love that.
And I'm okay with that. That's what this character needed to be, and he had some redemption. He was definitely working with these guys, and not for fear of death. He was working with them because he does have a soft spot for the child, like everyone else does, which is, I think, the right thing. Now, what I loved and hated in this episode, on this first scene, was the pilot. You know, he had a lot of super, cowardly energy. I don't want to die, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly when they show up, he gets all brave. And he starts mouthing off. And I thought that was overkill. Oh, yeah? Well, we killed all you guys. And there was hundreds of them. And I thought it was hilarious. I thought that was a bit much. I don't know if anybody else was catching that. I know we all want to talk about how perfect it is, but
No. I'm just saying, I thought it was the other guy that was more the whiner. Because he even went up until he got shot, he was the one that was like, hey, I'm just this person and I'm going to, and then the pilot shot him.
I was trying to think which one it was.
I actually think you're right, Christina,
Yeah.
because since the pilot on if you're facing them, or they were facing us, the one on the right was like, well, it's not worth getting killed over. And then when you go to the other angle, it was again the guy on the right, which makes it the guy who was originally on the left. So it was a different. I think it was a different.
Yeah, no, actually, I think you're right. However, my comment is still the same. I thought that was way, way over the top.
Oh,
a little bit too much of a jerk.
But see, I kind of liked it because I actually saw a little more in Gina. Like I felt like that moment for her for acting was better.
Well, okay. Well, I was discussing this before. I think that we have hit the pinnacle of Gina Carano's acting ability. Again, I like her character a lot. She comes in, she kicks butt, and I like it. And she got a great presence on screen. She can't act. Go ahead, Chris.
I will just say this was the best episode she's acted
in. No,
by
I say
far.
I think this was her
Yeah.
ceiling.
And there's only one little thing that I didn't like at first about the initial opening scene was like, how did the shuttle pilot know she was in the rebellion? But then like 2 seconds later, she's like, oh, I saw the tear
Yeah.
for Alderaan. But I kind of thought when I was listening to his speech, it was the way he called the rebellion terrorism. I was like, ooh, that was like we got to, because all of Star Wars we're seeing it from the rebellion side. It's like we kind of like with the Mandalorian we get to see kind of like how the other side thinks and their psychology, and I just thought that was like a nice.
Well, what do they say? The winners are the one that writes the history book.
Yeah.
I actually think that Mandalorian's going to continue with that because we've never seen servants of the Empire. So even though, of course, we've got the jerks, but we've never seen like the underlings so humanized.
Yeah.
You know, where you start. The Doctor's a perfect example, and I think part of the message is, well, what would you do? It's the who's going to throw the first stone, because when you are threatened, when your life is threatened, it's a human instinct to protect yourself. So how many of these servants of the Empire really are just doing their job and like, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do, you know?
Right. Yeah, they really humanize them on a lot of levels.
Which was something I really liked with this.
Yeah. It's what I liked about last week when, and I'm sorry, I'm going back really quick, but when the troopers are what came to the rescue. And he even commented on that, bet you've never thought you'd be thankful. But yeah, I like that humanization of them. And it's amazing. Like,
No, I 100% agree with you. But then again, we're going to go, when I go back to that other pilot, all the humanization's gone. And this guy I'm like, just die. Just
right.
Done.
There are people like that.
No, there definitely are, but I just don't see, he knows he's going to die. He's going to get all that false bravado right there. Now, and I thought that I liked Cara Dune's portrayal at that moment, because I think that was right. I think that was I didn't hate her acting at this point. But I thought that was a very perfect reaction. And it has shown what a sharpshooter she is in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. And I also feel like it was intentional. Like his bravado wasn't bravado. I think he would kill or capture, and he was all in. Like there are people that are in because they're trying to survive, and there's people that are all in because they buy the BS.
Yeah.
And I think he pushed her knowing he was going to die so he couldn't be captured. That's how I took it.
Possibly.
Like, I'm just going to keep pushing this button until you pull that trigger.
As an actor, that would be the choice that I would make. You get a script like that. It's like you got to justify it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair enough.
No.
Okay, so I thought that was a great starting to the show. Wow, that's the beginning. So
yes, and thank you so much for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
We're gonna go on from there. Okay, now, and then they have the big landing party when they meet back up with the Mandalore. Once again, we have another case of, wow, she really shouldn't be acting with the Sasha Banks character again. She was cast perfectly because, she comes in, she does the bulldog and all that stuff. I thought that was great for her, what she does. Yeah.
She was better in this episode than the Bo-Katan and all them were introduced. Also, what happened to the third guy?
That I was wondering
party?
The same thing.
It's like, did he die? Did he go back to Mandalore? That would have been nice to be like, oh, he's not here type of thing. But
yeah, at least mention it.
Yeah.
And even before you see what happens later, there was something about Bo-Katan this time that I'm like, she's a lot less likable this time. She's really got, and I don't know. I think they foreshadowed a bit too much, but there is definitely some bad, evil stuff going on in there.
Well, they gotta set up season 3.
Pick me.
Go!
I have information. So when Bo-Katan's character was introduced in the Clone Wars and Rebels cartoons, she was actually introduced as a villain.
Well, she felt like that this time
because her story on Clone Wars and Rebels was essentially she wanted to take the throne of Mandalore by like any means necessary, and then Darth Maul got the Darksaber, and there was a whole kerfuffle, and then
A
it
kerfuffle.
all, yeah, and then it all led up to Moff Gideon somehow getting that sexy Darksaber, but
Which
but
looked
yeah,
cooler this time than I've seen it, by the way.
it did.
It looked
But
better.
yeah, Bo-Katan, she's kind of flip-floppy on what her allegiances are.
She's a tween. She's a tweener, but she felt the first time we saw her, I didn't think she felt. I think she felt motivated, but she didn't feel evil this time. I mean, before everything else happens, I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Right, like the closer she got to her goal, the more her true nature was being revealed.
But
Yeah.
even when he was ready to turn her or turn him away, because I'm like, well, you're not gonna find him. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And then they had that the Boba Fett and what do you know the name of Sasha Banks' character?
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks. Okay. I thought that was a fun little scene and that they were both. I liked the I've heard your voice 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I thought that was
nice.
all really, it does make you remember that Boba Fett, while he's special, he's not. And I thought that was a really nice touch, honestly.
I enjoyed Boba Fett calling Bo-Katan princess.
Oh yes.
I was just like, that is so funny.
That's a Boba Fett move. That's a power move right there.
Yeah, and I also enjoyed listening to him talk in native Mandalorian. Because at first, at first I'm like, he's talking in gibberish. It's like I heard his name, but then it was like all gibberish, and then I realized, oh, he's talking in Mandalorian. And then
you definitely need to watch the subtitles on this episode,
Yeah.
if you guys haven't yet.
Yeah,
they did a lot of jargon on this one that they haven't done before. Yeah. But like definitely, the Star Wars quote unquote jargon, which I thought was really an interesting like. What are these? Okay, they're making this up. Okay, I understand what that is. Okay, and you had to kind of do that in your head this time. Yeah. So I don't know if that was an intentional choice or if that just kind of happened. Dank Ferrick. Star Wars cussing.
Where does that come from? Do we have a reference for that, Chris?
I don't know, but I think it's just Star Wars version of swearing.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I was just curious if it had.
Because on the elevator, well, not to get too far ahead, on the elevator, Cara Dune is like son of a muck rat or something.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't say what we would say on Earth.
And what? I'm so glad they do that because you can feel like as an adult you can watch like, yeah, they're cussing. I get what they're saying here, but a kid's not going to get it, and it's okay for your little kids to watch. And yeah, that's this is what the Star Wars universe has been missing. It's as much as the original 3 was made for us when we were kids. Then they tried to make the new Star Wars for us as old basement dwellers, and it lost the magic. Sorry. I know I'm a jerk. Okay. So
just a little.
Yeah. And then they come up with their ingenious plan, which I thought was a really good plan on getting through. And where was the doctor when they were on the planet?
That's a good question.
I just thought of that.
Well, Finnick wasn't there. So he was.
Wasn't she?
Also, where was the doctor?
You're talking about when they went to talk to Bo-Katan?
Yes.
Which I don't. She was probably on the ship with the doctor. Is what I'm saying. I didn't see her in that scene.
Oh, you're right, Cara Dune.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about once they were on the ship. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and then by the way, and when they did do the Slave One descend onto that planet, that was the most noticeable for me when you actually saw Boba Fett go, at the 90
the rotation, yes.
Gotcha. And I can't believe I missed this. How intense was that scene when Slave One goes right in front of the other ship, and you see Boba for like a second, and you're like, that's amazing.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that was just that was one of those moments that just did it for me. Okay.
I think they really succeeded in putting you in the story this episode. I think
Yes.
that's one of the reasons it was so great, was the
Just
shots that
enough
they
fan
chose.
service.
Well, it wasn't just the fan service. It was the perspective, the shots that they chose, kind of like that. Like when you see Boba Fett in the cockpit, where you're just getting that in-world experience.
Mm-hmm. Just perfect job coming up to that. Okay. So let's go on to the plan, which I thought that's a pretty brilliant plan. However, you take one of your biggest pieces off the board right away, which I was a little confused on. You have Boba
Well, but
Fett, and
he's
like, yeah, you're gonna go away now,
oh, that's true.
and that's a big piece to take off the board when you don't know what's up.
They're saving him for
Yeah.
something else.
And another
For his
doctor
own
question.
series.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Another question about the doctor: did he end up on Slave One?
Yeah, like where was he the
Yeah,
entire?
he did disappear.
It's like I'm
These are the
assuming.
I'm nitpicking right now because the episode was so perfect. I have to nitpick because I'm not going to find anything major. So I'm looking at
Yeah.
the little stuff. So I apologize.
I'm just gonna assume he was on Slave One that entire time, because they
Okay.
wouldn't bring him back on the light cruiser because he'd get killed like immediately.
Oh yeah.
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 Or he'd tell them what was up to save his own hide because
Yeah.
he's done that in the past.
Yeah.
So
He also could be defecting.
true. Okay, so let's move on into the big battle scene, which I thought was pretty brilliant. The way they stopped all the TIE fighters by actually jamming up the launch tube. I thought that was brilliant.
That was very clever. Well, first of all, let's talk about the effects of the TIE fighters
Oh,
lighting in and then shooting out. I mean, just looking at those launch sequences was just so freaking thrilling.
well, it's taken directly off of an aircraft carrier. That's what I was on in the Navy. You can actually see the TIE fighter raised up, and then you're literally shot into space at at Mach 1. That was just really a cool reality check, because that's what they would have to do, because it has to go faster than the ship is going.
If Disney wanted to make another Star Wars ride, I would totally get on the TIE fighter launching ride.
Oh yeah, that would
Heck
be a
yeah.
blast. Okay, so they go there, they jump in, and then they have a I don't want to say that it was an intentional girl power moment, but I thought it wasn't force fed, because like there's certain movies, Avengers, that do the force fed girl power moment, all the girls kick butt and blah blah. I felt like they had that without it being so force fed on this, and I thought they did that right. Because they weren't bad because they were girls, they were just bad because they were bad.
Well, they were
walking
just
through.
doing their thing.
They're
which is
doing their
really
job.
nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
They didn't make a big smelly deal out of it. It was
And they
just
didn't change the music for it, which I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I mean, the music was perfect, but like on the Adventures, when all the girls got together and they did their little run-in, the music changes and it's like some big thing, and I'm like, I am so for the girls are awesome. I don't like things being force-fed down you. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Right. It was just very matter of fact. They did what they needed to do and be done with it.
Yeah.
And I
And-
liked that.
Yeah, it could have been anybody there, but they were awesome because they were awesome.
yeah.
I mean, that's what we do, right, Satomi? We just do what we need to
Yeah.
do. Like,
we just
Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be on the show. Let's be honest. You guys are on the show because you're awesome, because you're good at what you do.
I particularly enjoyed Fennec in that whole sequence.
yes.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like where I mean, I'm calling it the girl power sequence. It was
Yeah.
amazing, but I particularly enjoyed Fennec in that.
She was
sequence.
seamless. She was
Oh,
absolutely seamless. And the way she backed people up and the way she would see things and handle them, but I love her as Agent May, so I freaking love her. And just, I feel like she really shined.
Did anybody see the Chun Li Easter egg?
No.
I don't know if you're
No.
aware, but she played Chun Li in the original Street Fighter movie. The kick
Oh.
that Chun Li does
Yeah.
She did that in this movie. You'll see like a roundhouse kick.
Yeah.
That's the Chun Li kick, which was like my gamer geek just like died inside
Now,
me.
do you think that they did that on purpose
Oh,
as the
yeah.
Chun Li kick, or do you think that is simply a move that is in martial arts that they decided to use at that moment?
I think it was the Chun Li kick because of
Ye-
who she was.
And if you
Okay.
compare the two, actually, I agree with Dub.
Okay.
Like it's a very specific. I know it kills me. I agree with Dub. It's a very specific way she does it. It's not
it's
just
a spin.
Yeah,
It doesn't
Yeah.
really exist.
it's a lot of flair.
Yeah. But I thought, and it happened for half a second, and if you didn't know what you were looking at, it was a cool kick.
Yeah.
But to me, it just like really brought back a lot of my childhood because Street Fighter was a huge deal for me as a kid. So I thought that was a really nice callback to that character because she's one of those characters that like you recognize, but you just have to kind of think about where you've seen her before because she's been everywhere and she looks the exact same age for the last like 30 years.
Right.
Yeah, because Asian, no abrasion.
I love you.
Keep in mind, listeners, I'm not the one that said it. So.
Hey, I am
Very
Asian.
proud.
I can say it.
Okay, so I thought that was. Well, we'll wait for a sec till we get into the Mando stuff. And
I
then
do
with-
want to say I
Go ahead.
really enjoyed Gina Carano's moment with the gun.
Oh
because
yes,
it's
Yes.
really difficult to play that without looking like you're playing it.
yeah.
And I mean, I know you have your opinions about Gina Carano's acting, but I actually really enjoy her. I think
Yeah.
she is exactly who and what she needs to be, and that in itself is a skill.
Can I qualify that my Gina Carano can't act thing? I want
Please
to qualify
do.
saying I'm not talking about her physical acting because I think her physical acting is perfect. I'm talking about her dialogue.
She's
Yeah, I didn't
believable
have a
to
problem
me.
with that. I didn't
She's
have a problem with
believable
that
to me.
either.
Yeah,
And I love that moment where she finally gets it to work, and then she just
Yes.
flips it. Like, watch your head.
Oh, it was
Boom.
I
so
got
good.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when she went on just using the gun as a whip, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
And that's like this is what a soldier would do.
They cast her as her,
Yeah.
and that's why it works.
Mm-hmm.
They cast her as her, and she got a different name, and that's why it works. And I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
and
have a problem with the
P.S.
way she delivers her lines.
Yeah, I'll let everybody know she is one of the ones that are not getting their own series. However, she is slated to be on a minimum of 3 episodes of 3 different of these Star Wars shows that are coming out in the next 2 years. So you'll see her. I don't want to see her try to carry her own show. With that being
No.
said,
No.
you know, I think she does. She is a fantastic second character. She is not. She's like Jack and what's her name? Karen from Will and Grace. Like they're great characters, but they can't carry their own thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
There's a great,
Their strength is that they are a foil.
yeah, and I
And
think that
I do enjoy hearing pieces of her story as we go, but I don't think I would want to hear it all in one fell swoop.
yeah, and I don't want to see 8 episodes of her because that'd be
That's
much.
valid. Yeah.
Okay,
I agree with
so
that.
now they're the control room. Now let's go to the fun part. Mando.
Mando!
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's start with I want to start with the music because this is a big
Ah.
deal.
Oh
All
my
those sounds of the dark troopers is that was so music to me, and I love how they
Well, it was. It was
eventually
score.
moved it into the score.
Yeah.
With
No,
that,
I felt like it started on the score
yeah,
because it was so rhythmic, and then eventually moved into the world of the. Interesting that you heard that. I heard the exact opposite progression.
yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
I,
Go ahead.
with the like I noticed almost right away the second time around the Dark Trooper theme and the Mandalorian theme slowly come together
Yes.
Mhm.
and then like
Yeah.
they did like 2 different time signatures crossing together. I was like,
It
yeah.
worked.
yeah,
And with the way that they with the way that it kept with the classical music score with the classical instruments and then the very digital 9 Inch Nails stuff, it was just so beautiful. And honestly, that's what I want to keep listening to because it was perfect. That
Yeah.
little portamento violin thing that they kept doing. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, just gorgeous. Anyway, Now here comes my other nitpick. I liked, it was cool, the one-on-one Mando fight. I think the 20 punches to Mando's head was stupid. I really did not like it. One or two I'm okay with. I'm done. But I counted there was 9.
I was kind of worried that the Dark Trooper was going to break his helmet after like 2 or 3 punches, but then like as he kept punching him like a Rock'em Sock'em robot.
Yeah.
Right? That's it exactly.
I thought it was great. It was kind of funny that like the robot just kept doing the same thing over and over again.
And that is my problem. It shouldn't have been funny. I think that
I thought
it took away from the danger.
point.
It took away from the danger of the moment.
I think I agree, because even though it's Beskar, like you can only take so many hits to the head, no matter what you have on as a helmet, before it's going to mess you up. My son used to do judo, and I'd be like 2 hits to the head, and I'm gone. Like so I was like, stop hitting him.
Yeah, for me, I was nervous for him the whole time, and I thought it was making the point of how indestructible Beskar was, that what was getting damaged was the ship instead of him.
Yeah.
So because once or twice I would have been like, okay, I could see that, but since it was so many times, yeah, they indulged a little. I'll give you that. But
this is me
I
nitpicking.
definitely think more than 2 or 3 was
Overkill.
justified. No, I think
No.
I think it was justified because
I think 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least, because
Yeah.
we needed to know for what was coming up.
No.
For the
And-
fact that there was that there was this other battle coming up, and that his armor could hold itself against the Darksaber. I think we had to establish.
Yeah.
And the punches to me looked like they were, and they were, because I mean it's play acting, but they felt like, it looks like they were soft punches. And I understand that he's going through, but it's still, no matter how many times he hit it, because there was no real effect, it looked like a play punch.
We were
See,
watching like a different show.
Yeah, because I will say, to me, no, it looked more to me like he was planted.
And
You
I
know
would
what
say,
I mean? Like he
I
was.
would put this out, Sean. I know that he does the choreographing. I'd like to hear what his thoughts are on this one. Sean, your magical beard. I would love to hear what you have to say on
Sean, please let Dub know he's wrong.
this. Want to piss you off if I'm right? Anyway. No, I say
Just a little.
Again, this is me nitpicking. I enjoyed everything in this. I just thought that was overkill.
Papa Dub, we don't like it when you nitpick our favorite stuff.
Get over it. Okay.
I also enjoy like the whole thing with the Dark Trooper. It's like shooting him didn't work. Like lighting him on fire didn't work.
Yeah.
And like when he lit the Dark Trooper on fire, the Dark Trooper kind of looked at him like, "You think this is a game?" type of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And then it just seeing him like get thrown around like a rag doll before he takes the Beskar spear, and like
I fell in love with the Beskar spear. I'm like, I'm so glad that they really incorporated that in. And they did it a couple times in this.
As soon as Bo-Katan said the only thing that could resist the Darksaber was Beskar, I was like,
Yes.
that saber is coming out.
Yep.
Yeah. And at that moment, I'm like, oh, well, I guess you're doing a little foreshadowing there, aren't we? And I'm okay with it. That was cool. Okay, so then they go out the airlock. Yay. I thought that was a little bit anticlimactic, but I get why they did it. They needed to for the ending scene. But at the time, I was like, I needed to pay off.
And I liked it.
I loved it.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
No, I say, I'm not saying I didn't like it. I just felt it was a little anticlimactic until I saw the end. It needed it for the end.
See, it was a little bit of that Galaxy Quest throwback for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And so I just loved that moment. But I did know that they would be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Had they not established the Doctor saying that the human element was the problem and let us know they were droids, I probably wouldn't have picked up on that as quickly. But if they're droids, they can survive out there. So.
Yep.
Yeah. And I thought the other big thing with that is like, okay, well, they can be as vile to these robots as they want because there's no humans, so there's no guilt. And
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's another part of why they put that in. Okay. And then
Which it got nasty.
Yep. And then the reunion happens. I was 100% wrong. I was sitting there, I watched the whole time. I'm like, oh no, he's gonna. Oh,
We all
Grogu,
were.
don't do it. Don't do it, Grogu. Don't do it. Because I thought he was gonna be
The
turned.
first time I watched it, I was like, be wrong, Dub, be wrong, be wrong. Like when he was fighting Moff, I was just like, stay out of it, Grogu. Like it was killing me.
Keep that in mind in a few minutes when we get back to that.
See, I don't know if it was because I'm used to seeing Giancarlo Esposito do terrible things to people from like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Like when he was just holding the Darksaber like an inch from Grogu's head, I was like, don't you dare.
Yeah.
Don't you dare cut him in half. It's like, I will never forgive you.
Right?
It just the way he was toying with a Din Djarin in that whole scene was, oh my, it was so.
Yeah, but that made the character even more evil, and I loved him for it. It needed to be. So yeah, and then they did the false, which I think everybody saw coming. Well, you go your way, I'll go mine. Okay, we're done. And you're like, okay,
I love how
do it. You knew.
Yeah, I know.
I love how Moff Gideon was like, assume I know everything,
And he did.
Yeah,
and I want to know why. I want to know how he knows.
Because someone's
everything.
force sensitive.
Instantly I was wondering if maybe he shot up a little bit of.
Yeah, maybe he's drinking some Grogu blood.
Yoda above. Yep.
Quick point of order on that. In the finale of season 1, it said he's former ISB, which is basically the space version of the FBI and CIA. So he just has all that information. And even though the Empire's gone, he still is able to know.
But how is he
everything.
knowing what's going on?
Because
5 minutes ago.
Because I'm going to say, like Thrawn, who is a master tactician, he took a page out of Thrawn's book where he's just like this genuinely smart tactician, and he like plans 2 steps ahead for everything.
And do me a favor, keep this in mind when we get about 2 minutes from now.
Yes.
Because I this is where I think I'm right on this, and we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so that they had the great scene, and I loved the Darksaber when it would hit the Beskar. You saw it light up, like it was actually burning through, and I thought that was just a great effect. Yeah. And I kept expecting it to break. I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah.
Here's how I can tell that Moff Gideon is not force sensitive.
Okay.
The way he was just whacking Din Djarin in that fight. There
was no elegance.
Yeah, because a lot of the Jedi and Sith are very elegant, samurai-esque in terms of like their stance and how they handle the blade, whereas Moff Gideon was just like going to town and trying to like.
And the anticipation was missing too.
Well,
to
use what was said later in the show, training, or what is it? Talent without training is dangerous.
Yeah.
But there was just no intuitiveness to it. Like even Luke, when he first, when he was young, he had, with Obi-Wan, there was this natural intuition there where he started to pick up on some things.
He started to pick up with some training. When you watch him do the ball in the first place, he was not doing too well with that.
But then in the first place he wasn't that great at it, and then he calmed down
after he got some training.
Cute.
Well, and he had no knowledge though, so Moff does.
But anyway, really not important to the story.
Okay, I just wanted to make that point.
Okay, fair enough. and I'll tell you why. I'll show you why I disagree when we get up to the next scene. Okay, and I thought that was a fantastic scene, and I loved one of my favorite lines in this is "Oh, you're sparing me. That's interesting." It's like, oh, this dude's smart. Mm-hmm. He's definitely playing chess, and he's seeing 12 steps ahead. And I thought that was one of my favorite lines that he has put out the whole time, because I think that's so brilliantly written. The way, just interesting. didn't care about his life. He's like, oh, okay, I see where we're going now, which I thought was pretty cool. Okay, then we walk in and we got the big reunion special, and things are going bad, because this is the setup for all of next season.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Dude, you guys want to? I've been talking a lot. Who else wants to jump on about this scene? Go ahead, Chris.
You know, stuff was about to go down when Moff Gideon was like, "Why don't you just kill him now?"
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And when he told everyone who's not familiar about the lore of the Darksaber, like the very short, basic version of it, I loved Bo-Katan's reactions, because you saw the disappointment in her eyes and her face. And every time Din Djarin was like, I yield, take it, she's like, nope, can't do it.
I love the sarcasm of, you could see him bending his head over, I yield.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so well played without seeing his face.
Yeah.
See the sarcasm, like, I don't care, get this crap away from me.
How is it sarcasm?
Just, I yield, I don't want it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if sarcasm was the right word, but
Okay.
Well,
I thought you were implicating something else. I was like,
more like nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if there was any sarcasm, it was directed more towards Moff. Like, I don't care what he says. Here you go. It's yours. I got what I wanted.
Well, or maybe I'm thinking of, okay, you beat me, I yield. That's what I mean by the sarcasm, not like anything. It's not as a character flaw, not as a bragging thing.
Well, and if you look back at the previous scene, he definitely, that thing he doesn't care about,
He
because
didn't give a crap.
when Moff played the game of let's go our separate ways, he had no problem with letting Moff keep it.
But how cool does he look holding that?
It's so cool.
Oh,
Feels cool.
So
yeah,
like
gonna be a thing.
The last 10 minutes of this episode, from the fight
from
to
this
the
on,
end,
yeah,
it's setting up so many things that I'm glad they're, fleshing everything out and taking the time to tell the whole story. But just like, yeah, I'm gonna stop because I can go on and on like forever.
I think
let's not do
20 breaths in 10 minutes.
I think we're gonna do one more episode at the end of this when we do the behind the scenes episode.
Yeah.
And then we're going to discuss theories. We can all just have one theory that we can discuss today, but next time we can discuss our theories of what we think is going to happen next season. Fair enough? Because otherwise we're going to be here all day. So save your theories for the end.
Yeah.
I thought that whole scene was fantastic. I thought Moff Gideon definitely showed what a weasel he was when he was sitting there, and I loved how he was moving the pieces around without them even knowing it. He was doing it, and I love people that are that smart.
But I also love that moment of abject terror on his face.
Yeah.
When it started going down, and I feel like he knew before everybody else knew. Like, there was just this look, and I was like, that's the fear I wanted to see on your face all freaking season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then all the dark troopers show back up, and I thought that again, the music was absolutely perfect. This was to me the high point of the music is this scene right here. I highly recommend going back, turn up your stereo and listen. Just don't pay attention to what's going on. Listen to the music. It is
lay on
stunning.
the floor. Lay on the floor and let your surround sound just wrap you. It is the most amazing experience.
On this scene, this is the one. I thought it was a great. Well, we know what's going to happen. You're just going to put up a valiant fight, and you're going to die. And I thought it was very interesting. And the only people that'll be left are me and the child. That said so much, and this is my big theory that I'm going to spill today. I'll do it later. This keys into it. Why he did that? Why that was an important line. Yeah, and I love the look, and when it panned around to everybody's face, everyone was like, "You're right." Because what are you going to do? You're going to die. Because we saw what happened with one of them, let alone what. I think there was like 20 of them in the room, but I think there's about 100 of them that showed up on the
Well, we needed that moment of hope lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was
what's great is, as
perfect.
an audience member, they were freaking terrifying,
Mm-hmm.
merciless, and unbeatable.
And then you see it, the X-wing.
Oh,
I knew at that second, I knew who it was. Not to brag, but I totally knew who it was.
I already told you that, sucker.
yeah.
I was in disbelief when the X-wing pulled in. I'm like, who is that? It's I was like, and then when you saw like the first shot on like the CCTV black and white, I'm like, oh, Ahsoka's back. But then you saw the lightsaber. I'm like,
the bright green and the one gloved hand, and then the hand that's not, and you're like,
And his outfit, the black with the
Ugh.
silver buckle in the center.
yeah.
As soon as I spotted that, because there was definitely a, could it be? No, it can't be. Wait, and then I saw his outfit, and I was like, it's Luke. It looks like Luke.
Yeah, and at that moment, you are a kid again, and you are jumping up and down on the couch, and you have tears streaming down your face. I mean, and not because you're sad, because you're so excited, and you don't know what to do with all these emotions that you're trying to process at the same time.
At that moment, I texted Dub like in the middle of the OMFG. Like, that's all I said.
I thought it was gonna be someone new because I'm like, I saw the outfit. I'm like, that looks familiar, but it can't be. It can't be Luke. It can't be. I didn't believe it until they took the hood off, and I'm like, yes.
It was everything you wanted as a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Everything.
Now I'm gonna do what I said I do earlier, and I'm gonna speak up for Blythe. Blythe hated it. I don't know if hate is the right word.
Blythe hates everything.
So his argument is that he wants something that's
New.
brand new, and not to refer back to the OG. And he was seeing it just as fan service. Now I don't agree with that, because for me, it tied that world in even more firmly with the world we've been in, and there's gaps. There are gaps in between the 9, the 3 trilogies, where we don't know what happened in between. We just have stories. So the fact that we're filling that in with a tie-in right there, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I'm all in.
lost my mind. I absolutely lost my mind.
At the end of this episode, I'm praying to God that the last trilogy is retconned out completely, like they did with it, because there's so many questions that this makes that I don't want the answer to, because they're not the answers that I want.
Well,
Go ahead.
Go. No,
Oh.
Mr. Excitement, go.
I don't think this most recent trilogy was too terrible. I'm
You're
a
wrong.
defense.
I'm with Chris on that.
I say this jokingly. If Star Wars was my children, I love them all, even the bad ones, even the ones that don't, make any sense or
But
rush.
the final 3 are the ones that are in juvie.
The parts of the most recent one are in juvie, but in terms of connecting the prequels and the original trilogy to everything beyond it, there is no other Jedi that could do this. Yeah, it would have been cool to see. I know on the internet people are like, it's going to be Cal Kestis, who's from the Fallen Order video game, or Ezra Bridger, who's from the Star Wars Rebels cartoons. But honestly, this is so much Luke Skywalker being the one who trains Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only person, because now there's the potential to see and I think it was you who texted me this, a young Ben Solo, and that whole thing. And that is something I want to see as someone who loves the sequel, the most recent trilogy.
Yeah. That will be my spoiler thing that I think, but we'll get to that in a few minutes.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
No, I agree. Funny enough, for me, I actually haven't seen the latest ones. I've seen like
lucky.
I've seen like I've seen Rogue One, I've seen Solo, but I hadn't seen the actual trilogy. That moment when Luke showed up on the scene, I put them on my watch list. Absolutely. First thing, because now I need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but and then they had the nice family moment, and this is what I was talking about last week that y'all said I'm wrong, and you can still think I'm wrong. I don't think I am. That's the moment. That's the moment I wanted to see him take the helmet off.
Oh yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
want to
that
see
was
the. I
wonderful. Yeah.
didn't want to see the helmet off on the last episode. I wanted to see it on that moment. I think that, the delayed gratification, everything else, that was the moment it should have been for the first time.
No.
See, and I think he needed the breakdown of the barriers. For him to
Yep.
take off the mask in this moment, I think would have been too much without
Yep.
having had anything in beforehand.
Because
Because there's too many
last
people in that
week,
room.
last week laid the foundation for him to make decisions that were outside of his code because the love of the child was stronger.
Yeah.
And it also showed the absolute loyalty in that moment of Mayfeld and Chris.
Chris, your
speak
head's
before
about
you
to
burst.
explode, dude. Go.
No, what Satomi and Christina said, 100%, I agree with that. To add on to that, him taking his helmet off last episode and him taking his helmet off this episode emotionally were two different
Yes.
beats. This one, where he shows his face to Grogu, was so powerful and emotional that each time I watched it, I was like crying because
Yep.
it was just a really beautiful, tender moment. Because like we rarely get to see Pedro Pascal's face on this show, which he's a fantastic actor. So I'm hoping that
I think they're changing that next season.
I hope so too, because now he kind of like there's this whole thing about like him being a child of the watch, which is like you can't take off your helmet and show your face, and then him seeing other Mandalorians or people who are wearing Mandalorian armor have no problem taking their helmet off.
Yeah.
He like the whole one of the themes of this season was questioning the whole belief of is this the way? What is the way? Is it something?
Wow, little callback.
I had to.
Well, actually, it's a call forward because they probably haven't seen that yet.
When Grogu reached up and touched the helmet, I knew that it was coming.
Yeah.
And that's when I started, Chris, that's when I started crying because, and let me tell you something, that man packed so much. Now I'm going to get emotional. He packed so much heart into that moment that I cried I missed the first Easter egg because I was bawling through it, and I was like, wait, something else is going on. I didn't stop crying from that moment because as a parent, as somebody that just you love somebody deeply, to love somebody enough to give them up. My parents adopted 8 kids. I get it. Like my heart broke for him, and he never said a word, but he said so much. And it just, God bless America. It just killed me, absolutely killed me.
But this is what makes the show great, is everyone just so emotionally.
Yeah. Well, and that was such a human connection in that moment, like unbelievably.
Yeah.
And all the way right up until the elevator closed, and just,
honestly, I was.
Oh, and
go ahead.
The part where he says he doesn't want to go, and Luke says he just wants your permission.
Permission, yeah.
Oh, there's so many good things. And he knew, like, okay, go, Dub, because I'm not going to shut up. I'm now babbling like a loon.
Well, with that needing permission, as you could see him wondering, am I going to give him permission or not? And I thought that was a really great feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this was emotional at the wazoo. And then after that, the credits run, and I didn't know there was an end credit, so I turned it off and went to work.
Oh, I didn't either. I haven't seen it.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Oh, wow.
I'm dead serious. I was watching with my husband, so I didn't have the choice to watch it.
Do you want to sign out before we talk about this?
Yes. Yes.
Take your headphones off for a minute.
Okay, you just wave at me when I can listen. Again.
Okay.
So the big
That's
thing,
amazing.
the big thing that I picked up on immediately, and it's the reason I kept watching, was the music had completely changed.
Yeah.
Like it was not Mando's theme, and they were drawing this out, and there wasn't all of the fun like art and everything.
It was different. Yeah.
Yeah.
The score was so grand for this episode.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into this while she's hiding. Okay. Yeah. I loved the Jabba the Hutt scene. I think there's going to be 4 decent shows out of this whole 12 Star Wars things they're releasing. I think this is going to be one of them.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Because he fulfilled his vow.
Yeah,
he fulfilled
done.
His oath.
Now he can go back. Now he's going to go be a warlord.
No.
I'm so excited.
I love it.
And the moment where he's draped in the chair and she's sitting on the side, and I'm so glad she's still with him. Like that made me even more excited. So
they make a fantastic team. Okay, and that's if you haven't watched that ending part, please watch the ending part.
Yeah, all the way through.
And I like that. I never knew before that the doorman was a Hutt too.
Yeah. Sean's
did you know it, Chris? Honestly,
no, I didn't.
No.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Sean was like, "Oh, he's getting a little chubby." I said, "I think he's turning into like what Jabba was." Like, I think there's
that's
like
eventually
this
what they want.
Yeah. And
so they were the same species.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's trippy. Okay.
That's crazy.
The one question I do have is the Book of Boba Fett going to be its own thing, or is it going to be part of the
it's its own thing?
Are we going to have
that's what was announced? It is going to be its own thing.
But are we going to get some crossovers?
Oh, definitely.
Well, we'll hit that. We'll hit that when we bring Tony back. Okay, and get back in now. This is the fun part for all our listener types.
Okay, so Tomi, our answers are on the board. You'll have 30 seconds, and each wrong answer, you'll hear a buzzer, and you'll have to answer again.
Okay, I'm ready.
That's kind of what that feels like. Wow.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. Let's give our one theory that we think is going to happen in the future or next season, because I think we're going to have some serious problems next season. And mine's not even for next season, but mine's for the future. So I want to get your guys' one theory that you think is going to happen with either next season or just kind of the future with this is all led up to. Let's start with Chris, because I know you got something.
I have several things. It's hard to pick.
You get one.
I know. That's why I'm pondering my choice. But if I had to pick one thing to see going forward, is I want to see what happens with Grogu and if Din Djarin ever actually
back up. Yeah, very good. Satomi?
I think we're gonna have some sleeper agent action with Grogu. Unfortunately, Moff Gideon was a little too cool with letting him go, even with the fight. So I think that's how we're gonna get Grogu back in.
Fair enough. Christina?
I have that moment where he went to Moff went to shoot himself, and I was like, he is moving way too slow for that to be serious. So now you've really got me wondering, Satomi. My theory was that we're gonna see a little bit of Ben, like we talked about, and maybe Luke saw something in Ben that he felt like needed more of his focus, and so he kind of cuts Grogu loose, and he ends up back with Mando. That was kind of my thought, because I just feel like those two are so symbiotic together.
Yeah. And
even though I know he did the right thing here at the end, it just killed me a little bit, because okay, it killed me a lot. Who are we kidding? But so that's my theory, is that maybe we're gonna see. That's my wish. Maybe not a theory. I don't know.
Fair enough. I want to see them end up back together. Now, with that being said, I have this theory, and I think that
I have a theory. Okay, sorry.
I think that Grogu has been completely poisoned by Moff Gideon, at least poisoned a lot. He was trained, whether we want to admit it or not. I think that Grogu is the one that's going to poison Ben's mind, in which everything happens that's going to happen.
You right now.
Can anybody not see this happening after I said that?
I think you just exploded everybody else's brain.
Oh God, please be wrong on this.
Oh, I hope
maybe
I am.
Ben takes it
again,
on
it's
in some
interesting.
way.
Well, I think he's the one that's poisoned his dreams because.
What if Grogu sees something in Ben that's bad, and Ben tries to get rid of Grogu because of it?
I think it's what Dub said, because like
it makes sense. Unfortunately, makes a lot of sense.
Anything with Adam Driver in it, just sign me up.
Yeah,
I want more Adam Driver.
If they can get Adam Driver back.
Well, it's all they got to do. All those zeros on that check that they're printing out now. I think that they won't have a problem. Okay,
he's not usually my type, but I can stare at that boy for a long time.
Do we need to do a grades on this one? A+, 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 A+.
I need to make just a note for the listeners. I actually have to retract my A quadruple pluses and give them the highest A+ rating, because the true quadruple A+ rating belongs to this episode.
Yes.
There can only be one. I've decided
there can be only one.
There can be only one A quadruple plus, like the Paul Hollywood handshake. I don't want it to get stale. So the two previous A quadruple pluses are A+ as high as you can go before becoming A quadruple. Yeah, you got the idea.
We got you.
Yeah. No, I just needed to be clear for the listeners.
I do think this is one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it's not a standalone. You had to go through the whole journey for this to be that good.
Which is what makes Mandalorian so good.
Yeah.
Is because every episode, even if it's a filler, it's a piece.
Yeah.
And you have to see the entire piece. And all I'm going to say, and I said it to you, Dub, is if you can make my grown country boy, tough as nails husband cry at the end of anything, that's epic.
Yeah.
Usually shows have a sophomore slump with their second season, but
nope, this one went up.
Season. If anything, this season cemented The Mandalorian as one of the best TV shows of the last 20 years.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah.
So, and we'll do more of this love fest in a week or two.
Yes.
Because I want to do one ramp down episode with this group, because this has been awesome. Thanks for sitting through this, guys. We love you. You're awesome. So, and I'm Dub. I'm here with Christina, Chris, and Satomi. Keep on geeking on. This is the way, and we'll see you one more time next week.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.